Here we are discussing some God of War Silent Hill Resident Evil news, and some Red Dead Redemption Remaster news. So, before jumping into the topics, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, click the notification icon and follow me on Twitter for more interesting and informative topics. So let's jump in. Kratos' Norse name is just as significant as Atreus in God of War Ragnarok. There has been a lot of focus on Atreus' Norse name revealed at the end of God of War, but Kratos' Norse name could be just as revealing. Towards the end of 2018's God of War, it is revealed that Kratos' son Atreus is in fact Loki, the Norse god of mischief. This is less of a reveal in universe, though he is a god. Loki is simply the name Atreus' mother wanted to give him before they settled on a name taken from Kratos' Spartan past. With God of War's Ragnarok on the horizon, and Thor showing up in the game's secret ending, Atreus' name reveal has naturally been the subject of much speculation. Less talked about, however, is the name Kratos is revealed to have gained with his time in Midgard. While his Norse name may not have the same twist as Atreus' name, there is still a lot that can be revealed by his Norse name, and the character from Norse mythology that it's based on. The Jotunheim mural near the end of God of War reveals that the giants have a different name for Kratos, though fans who didn't stop to translate the Norse runes likely missed it. The runes in question spell out Farbody. In Norse mythology, Farbody is the name ascribed to a Jotun generally portrayed as Loki's father. Farbody doesn't get much time in the myths, but his mentioning in Snorri Sturluson's Prose Edda has been enough to ensure the character's survival into the modern age. There are a few different ways to translate Farbody, and some translations can be quite apt considering his past. The first part of his Norse name, Far, is a noun in Old Norse that can be translated as danger, bad luck, or hostility, among other proposed translations. The verb bada means to strike. This means Kratos' Norse name can be roughly translated as dangerous striker. Some scholars have suggested that Farbody's name may be a reference to lightning strikes. Put together with some other translations, this begins to make sense. Loki's mother is called Laufey, which seems to have roots in the Norse word lauf, meaning leaves. Laufey's other name in the myths, Nal, means needle, which might be interpreted as pine needles. As such, Loki's conception appears to have connections to the phenomena of lightning striking dry leaves or pine needles, a common cause of wildfires. Especially in creation myths, there is a tendency for characters to also represent natural occurrences, while having separate, more humanized personas. Kratos' alternate name, however, also fits perfectly into his story so far across the God of War series. There's no doubt that he is a dangerous striker, having taken out almost all of the Hellenic pantheon across the first 3 God of War games. However, he is also the son of Zeus, the Greek god of lightning, which adds an additional layer to the name's associations, though it could also just be a fortuitous alignment of the myths. Intended or not, the name Farbody is also a reminder of the role that he has played throughout the series. Kratos may not have struck first, but his campaign of violence might easily have earned him the name Dangerous Striker, or comparisons to lightning. Much of the last game saw him recognizing his impulsive violence in his son, especially when Atreus killed Modi, probably. The name also serves as a reminder that, despite Kratos' more peaceful existence in the world of Norse mythology, beings like the Jotun are still very aware of his dangerous potential and his dark past. Though his name likely won't be the main focus of the next game, the role of names since God of War's 2018 soft reboot has been particularly interesting as the series bridges 2 mythologies. Well, we have to wait and see until the game is at our doorstep.
He wants to help us!
Up next we have 2 Resident Evil news. The first one is that as of the end of 2020 the remake of Resident Evil 2 ties with Resident Evil 5 as the second highest selling game in the Resident Evil series. Few other gaming franchises have managed to make a comeback quite as big as Resident Evil. After having the series stagnate somewhat after the release of Resident Evil 6, the series came back in a major way following the release of Resident Evil 7. Since then, Resident Evil has only gotten better for most fans, and that newfound success has begun to reflect in terms of sales. Exact sales figures are revealed on a case-by-case, seeing as it really depends on the gaming studio in question. However, in the past, Capcom has made its figures no secret in terms of the sale of units overall. The company recently revealed the sales charts of multiple games it has developed over the last several years, and a surprising development has occurred in terms of one Resident Evil title in particular. According to Capcom's public sales records for all of its games, titled Platinum titles, the remake of Resident Evil 2 has officially tied with Resident Evil 5 as the second highest-selling Resident Evil game of all time. What's amazing is that not only did Resident Evil 5 manage to maintain the title for so long considering it released in 2009, but also that the Resident Evil 2 remake is now on the fast track to surpassing it in sales despite only being out for 2 years, 1/6 the time of Resident Evil 5. It goes to show how much demand and popularity there is for Resident Evil, despite the fact the franchise has been around for so long. The original Resident Evil released back in 1996, and the series is just as prominent now as it was then. Admittedly, this is largely in part due to the massive success that Resident Evil 7 achieved when it first released, arguably revitalizing the franchise. In any case, Resident Evil 8 Village certainly has the potential to surpass the 7th entry in terms of sales. Ever since the game was first unveiled during the PS5 reveal showcase, a lot of speculation has circulated amongst fans in terms of what to expect in terms of story and gameplay. In addition to the upcoming 8th installment, a bunch of exciting Resident Evil-related Netflix projects have been unveiled. A live-action TV series based on the franchise, as well as a CGI animated movie called Resident Evil: Infinite Darkness will be releasing on Netflix. It seems now is the best time to be a fan of Resident Evil. Our other Resident Evil news is that Capcom producer Peter Fabiano talks about the size of Resident Evil Village, suggesting that it is much larger than Resident Evil 7. For the most part, Resident Evil Village seems like a natural extension of Resident Evil 7, retaining that game's first-person viewpoint and general gameplay style. However, there will be some key differences between Resident Evil Village and RE7. This includes the size of the games, as Capcom producer Peter Fabiano has confirmed that Resident Evil Village is much larger than Resident Evil 7. Fabiano said as much in an interview with official PlayStation Magazine UK. Fabiano didn't provide specifics beyond that, however. It's unclear if this means that the Resident Evil Village game world is larger, or if it means that the game itself will be longer. Resident Evil 7 had a relatively short playtime, which is common for most games in the Resident Evil series, so it will definitely be interesting to see how long Resident Evil Village lasts. In the interview, Fabiano also touched on some other features fans can look forward to in Resident Evil Village, particularly as it pertains to the PlayStation 5. Resident Evil Village will utilize the PS5's 3D audio capabilities to make players feel like the audio is coming from all around them. Fabiano also reiterated previous claims that the PS5 SSD means Resident Evil Village has virtually no load times, something that will likely be true of the Xbox Series X version of the game as well. Unfortunately, the last-gen versions of Resident Evil Village are unlikely to have these benefits, so those playing on PS4 and Xbox One can expect longer load times, as well as less impressive audio and visual performance. On the bright side, those playing Resident Evil Village on PS4 and Xbox One should still get the same general gameplay experience as those on PS5 and Xbox Series X, which means they can enjoy the larger game when compared to RE7. While it's unclear how long it will take players to complete a single playthrough of Resident Evil Village, the game already seems to have a bit more replay value when compared to RE7. For instance, Resident Evil Village has an RE4 style merchant, who players can interact with to purchase weapon upgrades and other items. In most Resident Evil games with upgradable weapons, it's virtually impossible to fully upgrade everything in one playthrough, so the merchant could be one big reason why players go back through the game. It's also worth pointing out that Resident Evil Village comes with a multiplayer experience called Resident Evil Re-verse, which should ensure that the game gives players even more bang for their buck when compared to RE7. Up next we have the Red Dead Redemption situation, which is a rumor. According to the latest rumors, Rockstar Games may finally be moving forward with a remaster of the original Red Dead Redemption before the release of GTA 6. In 2010, Rockstar Games released the original Red Dead Redemption to widespread critical acclaim, selling millions of copies and winning numerous awards in the process. With Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar took its open-world Western concept to the next level, vastly improving the visuals and providing near-unprecedented open-world realism. Considering the staggering success of Red Dead Redemption 2, it's safe to say that many fans discovered the series for the first time with that game, and may never have had the chance to play the original. Considering how popular Red Dead Redemption is, it's surprising that Rockstar has never made an attempt to re-release it, with the game still trapped on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Red Dead Redemption has never been released for PC, and it's only playable on modern consoles thanks to the Xbox backward compatibility program and the PlayStation Now streaming service. There is clearly demand for a Red Dead Redemption remaster, but Rockstar has made no attempt to make one so far. Even so, rumors have persisted that a Red Dead Redemption remaster is in the works, with the rumors dating all the way back to 2016. Rockstar Games still has yet to announce such a project, but a new leak claims that it is indeed in development. And not only that, but if the leak is to be believed, fans will get their hands on the Red Dead Redemption remaster before the launch of Grand Theft Auto 6. The same leak says the Grand Theft Auto 6 release window is October 2023, so if it is accurate, that means the Red Dead Redemption remaster will release within the next couple of years. However, fans should treat this news with a massive grain of salt. The information stems from a 4chan AMA that was later posted on Reddit, and there is absolutely no proof provided to back up any of its claims. Still, this isn't the first time that we've heard of a potential Red Dead Redemption remaster being in development. Last year, an Amazon listing leaked Red Dead Redemption Remastered, listing the game for $49.94 and a December 10, 2020 release date. That never came to pass, but it's possible that the game was intended for release last year, only to get pushed back for whatever reason. Other rumors have pointed to a Red Dead Redemption Switch port in the works as well, though they have yet to come to pass either. In the meantime, fans can keep their fingers crossed for a Red Dead Redemption remaster of some kind, though they shouldn't get their hopes up until Rockstar Games makes an official announcement. And finally we have the Silent Hill news. Silent Hill fans have been desperate for a new installment in the iconic horror franchise for years, but Konami has mostly stayed silent on the matter. Fortunately, the latest rumor seems to be more than just talk, as it comes from Akira Yamaoka, Silent Hill's famed composer. An interview with Yamaoka's tease was quickly removed, which has fans even more excited. Yamaoka gave an interview to YouTube channel Al-Hub discussing his latest work as the composer for The Medium, which released last month. When asked about his future projects, Yamaoka revealed he is working on a game that would probably be announced this summer and added, "I think it's the one you're kind of hoping to hear about." The quote intrigued players, as many fans would be hoping a new Silent Hill game featuring Yamaoka. I've discussed about this in a hole in my previous video. However, Yamaoka's interview was removed by the channel the next day. In its explanation posted to Twitter, Al-Hub said it was asked to remove the video, but did not specify who made the request. The interview's removal seems to imply that Yamaoka was indeed referencing a long-awaited Silent Hill game. However, it is still possible that Yamaoka may have been talking about another big title, and asked to remove the interview to prevent the spread of misinformation. It has been nearly 6 years since the removal of PT, the game demo that teased the next installment in the Silent Hill series. Titled Silent Hills, the game was cancelled after drama with Konami resulted in Hideo Kojima leaving the company. PT was subsequently pulled from the PlayStation Store, never to be downloaded again. Despite the drama, fans still hope to see a new Silent Hill game. Since then, rumors have circulated that Konami is working with Sony to develop a Silent Hill reboot with a third party. It is not known if the third party would be Kojima's independent studio Kojima Productions, but it is difficult to imagine fans accepting a Silent Hill game without his signature touch. If one prominent leaker is to be believed, Kojima is working with Sony and Konami on a Silent Hill reboot, but this has not been confirmed. Yamauka's interview undoubtedly adds weight to the possibility that a Silent Hill game will be announced soon. It seems likely along with the mountain of evidence that has surfaced in the past year, though all fans can do until something gets announced is wait and see. As adding flavor to the topic, the web domain for Silent Hill is currently being used to compare one frightening horror character to Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village. After Capcom released the Resident Evil Village trailer and demo, the internet went wild for its new antagonist, first known to the internet as the Tall Vampire Lady. Memes, cosplays and fan stories surrounded the hat-wearing woman of mystery. Fans eventually found out the Tall Vampire Lady's name is Lady Dimitrescu, and that she has one particularly alluring, yet terrifying feature. As fans crazed over the new Resident Evil Village character, speculation rose about her origins, and more importantly to some, her measurements. Resident Evil art director Tomonori Takano took the opportunity to reveal that Lady Dimitrescu is approximately 9 feet 6 inches in heels. Not only will the nearly 10-foot-tall Lady Dimitrescu tower over anyone she stands next to, she and her vampiric daughters are said to be in relentless pursuit of the main protagonist Ethan Winters when he enters their home, Castle Dimitrescu, within the next Resident Evil. While the internet has launched a fandom for Lady Dimitrescu, one fan is trying to remind the internet who held the title first. The official Silent Hill web domain expired in 2019, and went up for sale for just under $10,000 USD, and it appears to have fallen into the hands of a person not associated with the official Silent Hill team. The website recently received a new look, reminding fans of Pyramid Head, one of the best antagonists in any horror series, and cracking a joke about Lady Dimitrescu's height. When fans go to SilentHill.com, they will be met with a single page containing a meme dedicated to remembering Pyramid Head from the Silent Hill series. The meme shows Pyramid Head on a height chart, standing about 9 tall, with a caption reading, "He was first." It seems this meme was not created by any official Silent Hill creators, so the owner of the website is holding on to one expensive meme. As the release for Resident Evil Village approaches in 3 months, it will be interesting to see what is done with the website, whether the joke continues, or if Silent Hill will return the website to normal. Even so, Lady Dimitrescu is the center of attention, and players are counting down the days until they can fully meet her. Resident Evil Village is set to be one of the largest Resident Evil titles, and Capcom has been building the hype with hints about the title on Twitter. I've discussed these hints in my previous video, and if you want to know it, don't be late and be quick. It seems that even with an entire website dedicated to Pyramid Head, the anticipation for Lady Dimitrescu is only growing. And as a final touch we have the Ori news. Video game developers are typically clued into the industry as much as they are focused on their upcoming titles. As a result, people like Experiment 101 creative director Stefan Ljungqvist are able to compare aspects of Biomutant to games like Breath of the Wild. Developers can also critique their peers, but in the case of Ori, and the Will of the Wisps director Thomas Mahler, recent comments have led to an apology. The Moon Studios creative director compared CD Projekt Red and Hello Games to snake oil salesmen in a reset era post-Wednesday when discussing the culture of hype and eventual disappointment built up by titles like Cyberpunk 2077 and No Man's Sky, respectively. The original post was prefaced saying he gets riled up seeing people repeatedly believe false claims, and ends on the note that it felt like a chip I needed to get off my shoulder to try and discourage the practice from happening in the future. However, Mahler followed up Thursday with a tweet reading, "I screwed up yesterday." He said after reading the responses and discussing it internally with his team, he feels he didn't represent Moon Studios the way I should have. While the creative director said he intended to open a conversation about how hype culture and false claims can hurt everyone in the industry, as seen by the class action lawsuits filed against CD Projekt Red following Cyberpunk 2077's launch, he feels those conversations should remain respectful. While Mahler apologizes for his overly aggressive tone, particularly in a post mentioning other developers such as Hello Games' Sean Murray by name, he said the anger came from someone deeply invested in the industry. As a head developer on titles like Ori and The Will of the Wisps, he said he likes the idea of creators and fans alike having open discussions that can work toward improving the art form. Games like Cyberpunk 2077 and No Man's Sky have undeniably left many players cautious about the cycle of building hype, even if Hello Games has seemingly redeemed itself with an improved experience over the years. In a report by Bloomberg's Jason Schreier published last month, anonymous CD Projekt Red devs discussed the fake E3 2018 demo for Cyberpunk 2077 that was made even while some felt the time would have been better spent working on the game itself. Though the comments made by Mahler received blowback for his tone, the actual discussion of issues in the industry has resonated with commenters on both Reset Era and Twitter. Given Moon Studios has recently raised money for rainforest conservation, it seems clear the developer is invested in working to make the world better, despite hitches along the way. And that's all for the video, guys. If you like the video, please share it, and if you are interested, follow my channel. And until then, goodbye.
Not everyone is bad. Mother always said to be open to those who can help.
Who you were before doesn't matter. This boy is not your past, he is your son. And he needs his father.